Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy PN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and in today's video, we are going to be coming back to the most active kingdoms in the game. Now, why is this more important this time than the previous times? Even though, yes, of course, they should all be important. The reason why is because we are starting to get home kingdom rollouts with, specifically, the first batch of rollouts, as we indicated in a previous video, which is 289 through 292 in Season 2-80 or S2-80 for short. Then we have 144 kingdoms that are going to be going into home kingdom on the 30th of May. The S280 group of 4 kingdoms just went into their home kingdom when this video comes out. They would have already been in there for a number of hours. But then you're going to get a big batch of them going in on the 30th. And that is why doing something like this is going to become that much more important. Because if I want to pull data and do a top 25 kingdoms list, I need an easy and kind of quick, fast way to figure that out. Because again, going through almost 400 individual kingdoms will probably kill myself at that point. So, with that in mind, being able to figure out which kingdoms are full and crowded make it a lot easier to where now I may only have to go through, 50, 60 kingdoms or so, right? Because it's very unlikely that kingdoms that are active or normal will most likely make it into something like a top 25 kingdoms list. And I may even have to do something like use that in order for things like top alliances and players, just because going through all of that on my own, depending on how long it'll take, could basically be a millennium. With that in mind, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up because it helps out a lot. And here we go. So again, pulled this data yesterday. Took me about an hour or so on the 26th of May. And we're going to go through the list. Remember, as always, yellow, anything that's in the yellow background is a status that has changed. Now, there's also a number of kingdoms that have changed, even though the next migration phase has not opened up for them. We're going to be looking at about the 144 kingdoms here, so there's a lot of changes that have been made, along with some that are not in that 144 bunch, but are still kind of in the middle of their KVKs, where you're seeing slight adjustments that have been made. So, let's go ahead and work our way from oldest to newest, as usual. So here we go. And then again, we'll do the reveal here at the end for those, because I know you guys like to see, what's the numbers now. So we have, again, we have 11 and 12 that went from normal to crowded. So again, a number of people ended up joining there. We have 13, and for those wondering, I will be trying to do my KVK group stats data once that comes up. Once we know what the when the end of season stuff is going to be hitting. Then we have 13 going from crowded to active, right? So going down a spot. We have 14 people leaving 14, right? That was crowded, now normal. We have 15 that went from normal to full, so 3 jump ups there. A bunch of people going to 15, and now it probably becoming a powerhouse. We'll take a look at that. We have crowded to that should be reset. There we go. Then we have active to crowded for 18. 20, we have normal to active, so going up 1 spot. We have 21 going active to normal, so some people leaving there. We have 26 going from active to normal, so losing 1 spot. We have active to normal for 42, same with 44, 48 as well. And then, and 53, and 57, right? So again, all losing some players. And then we have 70 active to normal. We have 82 is active to normal, same with 90. And then we kind of go with the last one here, right? So active to normal for 93. 96 ended up going full, so that could be kind of a new powerhouse as well, jumping up 3 activity spots. 102 gaining some people, going from normal to active. Same thing with 107. Then we get to 109 going active to crowded, so filling up a little bit more. 110 going crowded to full, right? So them, again, joining that full echelon group, if you will. 113 going active to crowded, same with 116 and 117. But then we kind of have a little role reversal here, going from 118, which is crowded to active, so some people leaving, normal to active, so 119 gaining some people there. 122 goes active to crowded. 125 normal to active. This should not be there. This is what happens when I'm up late. Active and crowded for 135, so gaining some people. We got 142 going active to crowded. Then we'll work our way down here, crowded to normal, so a number of people leaving 170. Then we have crowded to active, so some people leaving 177, active to normal, some people leaving 178. We have active to crowded, some people joining 183, joining 186 as they go from normal to active, 187 normal to crowded, so a number of people joining 187. We have 188 people leaving that, crowded to normal, so a number of people leaving 188. We have normal to active for 190, people leaving 191, going from crowded to active. We have 193 active to crowded, so some people joining 193. Then we get to 203, normal to active, so a little bit there. 205 filling up, going from crowded to full. And then we have a big jump here for 206, which is normal to crowded, so a number of people joining 206. 211. Normal to active, so a little bit there. We have then the next one, which is some people leaving 217. They were full, now they're crowded. Then we also have another one for 222 that was full, now crowded, so some people leaving, or maybe them dropping. I should state that too as well, right? Maybe they were just dropping some power or kind of lowering, trying to lower some of that threshold cap. That could have happened as well, even if no one did leave. We have 229 and 230 going from full to crowded. We have 233 as well, going from full to crowded. Then we get to the big bunch here, which is 242. They went from crowded to normal, so a number of people left there. We have 243 going active to crowded, so a number of people joining. The big jumps, massive jump on 244, going from normal to full. We have normal to crowded for 245, 246 active to normal, 247 normal to active. We have 248 crowded to normal, so a number of people leaving, and then another massive migration to 249, going from normal to full. We have crowded to normal, so a number of people leaving 250, active to crowded, so some people joining 251, normal to active for 253, active to normal for 254, active to crowded for 255, so again, some people joining. A biggish jump here on 257, which is normal to crowded. And then we ended up having this one, normal to crowded again here for a second round, crowded to active, so some people leaving 260, 262 going normal to active, a nice jump, 265 seeing a massive gain of migration from normal to full status, and then a big migration jump as well in 267 going normal to crowded, along with 270, and then we get to 271 as we start to slow down a little bit, and this is normal to active along with 274 and 275. Now we're getting here, I think this is near the end, where we have active to normal for 282, so losing some people or just lowering some power there. Same with 284, same with 287, and then we get normal to crowded for 290, 292, and 293, along with 301, seeing some good migration bumps. And then we have the normal to actives for 298 and 302. And I think here we're now at the end where we basically see, I don't know why I did that, because there's nothing there. So there's like, I don't know why I did that, so we'll just do this. But kind of just to go to show you. So I went all the way up to 332, and that was just because 333 was still season 1, right? So they're going into their season 2 now. Now let's do the big reveal here at the end for those that are curious on how the numbers look. So let's go reset. So here we go. So at the moment, and keep in mind, some of these numbers I imagine will fluctuate, but we have 14 full status kingdoms at the moment, so this is a drop of 9 from where we were previously at 23, where it felt like that number, for the most part, was trending upwards. However, we saw a massive increase in crowded kingdoms, and I wonder if this may start to become a trend where it's basically we're going to end up seeing a lot more crowded than we probably ever will full, because most people will probably want to teeter that line in order to try and manage the status cap or the kingdom cap and the activity status to always have an opportunity, or try to always have an opportunity to bring more people in, right, from like basically flirting with that line. So we see 73, which is a plus 29 bump, which is plus 9 more of a bump compared to when we did it on April 6th. We see 61 active kingdoms, so that's a plus 18, almost double gain from early April there as well. And then, of course, the remaining of these kingdoms would be normal if we just added this up and minused it from 332. So that's it. Again, like I said, my hope for this, and if you're in any of these kingdoms and you want to give us some storylines, you want to, if you're okay with sharing, please let us know in the comments. I love reading, first and foremost, I always love reading comments on the videos, but when we have these kinds of pieces of content that we put out that where its stories or context is really helpful, especially because it would just take a lot of time for me to go and reach out to each of these kingdoms and say like, hey, where did the people move and come, right? Even though I'd love to do that if I had the time available, I just sadly don't. This is one of those things where we get to rely on the community to look at this and then say, wow, so this is where all the shifts have happened. And then we can go to the comments and read that from players that were involved in any of those. And again, I always love hearing. So let us know. Always a good time. And of course, would love to know what you guys think about how the numbers look right now. Do you agree? Do you disagree with the stance on maybe we will start to see more crowded than we will full? Well, do you think people and kingdoms will just try to really teeter that line and not kind of go full or stay full for that long? Do you think that with the amount that we're going to see, and maybe we'll do some percentages too as well going forward when I think about it now, where I'll try to include the amount of normal kingdoms that are there, and then we'll look at the percentages and maybe look at how that has been trending from where we are now to where we'll be like each month or every other month when I end up doing these. Because I think that can also tell us a story on, well, how many active kingdoms are there out of the total number of kingdoms? And then does that make more of a case for us to potentially merge, like purely merge dead kingdoms or very inactive kingdoms? And I've always had this stance where I've said I would love for them to do something like that, but there has to be a threshold. There has to be some kind of prerequisites that are met where, for example, if let's say you wanted to merge 4 deadish kingdoms, you would have to let them play out at least 2 seasons and at least 1 migration phase to see if they can bring people in to resurge, right? To reinvigorate, to rebuild the kingdom. Either at least 1 or 2. And then if they're unable to do that through 1 or 2 migrations, which would probably be through 2, I would say through maybe probably 3 seasons, right? Then you would say, okay, then let's do a merge, right? So you'd say, let's let the dead kingdoms play out to season 3. That gives them 2 migration windows. And then if they're not able to do and they're still losing people, then you would say, okay, now these kind of fit into our criteria. Let's go ahead and do a pure merge where we just combine those players and maybe just reset the map, kind of do it like a home realm adjustment where you just have the increased building speed for a period, and maybe you time it out for a particular window. That could be really cool. There's other things as well, right? Like Infinity Kingdom did something where they offered like deadish kingdoms the opportunity to migrate for free to more active kingdoms, right? So there was like a window of time that you could do that in. Like that was something that they did for an event, and they kind of recycled, or not recycled, but they had different intervals for kingdom batches that would come up, and they started from Kingdom 1 and kind of worked their way to newer kingdoms. Anyways, interesting stuff. Would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.